All right, perfect. Thank you, everybody, and appreciate the talks before here too. I think just a note here is it's been so exciting to see how just this year, 1,300 people here. We had wait lists on both for attendees and also on exhibitors. It's just I think a lot of us here are just proud to see how much this field is growing. So it's been I think, just very exciting for a lot of us here. So thanks everyone for being here. So this is a little bit of a different talk than I'm used to giving because but one that I'm excited about giving. So I'm talking, my role is with Axosim as the Chief Business Officer there, as we've been growing kind of our neurological models and providing those to kind of our biopharma partners. But over the last few years, I also got involved with an organization, the 3Rs Collaborative. We were formerly known as the North American 3Rs Collaborative, and within that, we started an initiative around MPS technologies that I'm going to talk more about today. And so, originally, our executive director was going to give this talk, and so but I'm happy to step in here and be able to talk about some of the work that we're doing here. So just a little bit of background on the organization. 3Rs Collaborative is a nonprofit whose mission is to advance better science for both people and animals. And we really do focus on all three of the Rs. And so I think it makes it for an interesting place for this to live that I'll talk a little bit more about. So we're very broad in terms of kind of our collaboration. So we have pharma, we have CROs, we have obviously the MPS developers, we have people from regulatory agencies involved, as well as major research institutions. Mostly focused in North America, but we do have people around the world who are involved. A lot of this, the organization was really started in part because of a lot of the success of the NC3Rs in the UK. In fact, Vicki Robinson, who I think a lot of us know here, is the director of the NC3Rs, has been a fantastic resource as an ad hoc member of the board as well. We really have three main goals as the organization: to promote the 3Rs broadly, to promote specific 3R strategies, and again, that's what I'll talk more about, at least one of those, and of course to promote the organization through building collaborations. And that's really what it's all about. The C in the 3RC is the collaborative, and that is such an important part of how we choose to do what it is we do. So the first thing, we have initiatives within the group that really drive kind of the work that we're doing, and it all starts with choosing the right topic. Where is there a gap? Where is there something within the 3Rs that if we can put together the right stakeholders, we can come up with something that'll make a difference? Then it's really working with all the stakeholders to really define what is that gap and what is the proper way we can potentially address it. And then lastly, come up with a plan and then help to accelerate the implementation of what that is. So right now, within the organization, there are 5 key, 4 and now a 5th one coming, key efforts and kind of our initiatives. So environmental health monitoring, refined mouse handling, translational digital biomarkers. That's more focused on the in vivo side again, but that's the MPS side is starting to bleed into that as well. Microphysiological systems, of course, which is what I'll talk about. And then there's a growing group of AI and drug discovery and general research as well. So our initiative, it actually started, this was basically 2 board members. I think a lot of people know Shepan Baran, who was at Novartis for years. He's now moved on to another role that's still related, and Norm MacDonald, who was at MedImmune, is now at Seagen, had reached out to me after they spent, one of their organizations spent a long time trying to find some other assay for looking at peripheral neuropathy. And they had spent years looking at different, just knew that the animal models didn't work for their specific context of use they were looking for. And finally, we got connected. And they're like, what if we actually had a way that, just a resource where we could look at all these new technologies that are being developed? Because right now, and this is really 4 years ago, there's just no central place where we can see all these new MPS technologies that are being developed for this. And from that, we kind of launched this initiative and decided to house it within the 3RC. And it's grown a lot, and we're excited about it. So again, hopefully I can today show you kind of some of the work we're doing, and hopefully some more of the commercial providers here will join us in this. So we have three kind of key stakeholders that are involved in this initiative. The biggest one is the developers, so that's our primary membership. This is an industry consortium, I should be clear about. This is the first consortium of MPS technologies that are already on the market or being provided commercially. But then we work with end users. We have pharma partners that are members of the group and are key contributors to each of our work streams, and we do regularly communicate with the regulators. So, and I'm looking forward to following up and hearing more best practices from other collaborators around the world too, like the talk earlier. I think we're unique too because we're the 3Rs collaborative is a 3Rs group. It's not just focused on in vitro. It's not just focused on the animal ethics side of it, but really it's allowed us to get into rooms, I think, where we're having a conversation about MPS that isn't being had otherwise. And when I mean that, I mean like the ALASs, the lab animal scientist groups. We go into to certain, I gave a talk at the 3R sharing conference with New Jersey Biomedical Research Institute group in April, where again, it's all in vivo scientists, no one who's, and a lot of skeptics of MPS too, right? And we get to go in and just talk about, hey, well, let's think about where are these being used. Let's think about context of use. I think I'll come back to that because I think this is key as we're talking about our technologies. We shouldn't be just saying we're going to replace animals, blanket statement. That's just not going to happen. It's not, and we're not going to win over those researchers who are planning out their next set of experiments by saying, don't do a mouse, do it on an MPS. I think we should start with, here's a very specific context of use in which these technologies are producing potentially more translatable data, and start with that approach. And that's really where what we're focused on here too. But as I mentioned, we are focused with, and our group is made up of groups that are already commercializing these technologies. So we have, I think most of the exhibit floor that was out here are already members, and it's become a fantastic resource for us all to share resources, but then also work towards putting together a variety of materials to disseminate to the world, so to speak. So, we think we're in a key position as the developers to be able to help with that. So we understand the promise of the technologies. We also understand the limitations of the technologies, I think, and sometimes better than all. I don't think we always do a great job of voicing those limitations, especially, again, framing it back to the right context of use, which I think then is actually more helpful if we can be straightforward with that. And then that helps us, again, kind of tailor our R&D to where we think those the best opportunities are to use these technologies. So our main focuses are really around providing thought leadership and consensus around where these can be used, and then bringing in all the stakeholders together to have that conversation. To really facilitate that discussion, again, it is a collaborative. That is the heart of what we do, is to collaborate with all these different groups, have all those voices in the room, and then create that direct engagement. And we've done some external partnerships to that end. So we have 4 main work streams now. We have end user interfacing. This really started with an effort there was a partnership basically between the IQ MPS initiative, so the IQ consortium. I think, again, a lot of us are familiar with these pharma groups that had a working group around this, and we wanted to have kind of a conduit with all the commercially available technologies to be able to talk with them. And now we've expanded that not just with the IQ, but elsewhere as well. So we run workshops, webinars, and other activities there. There's a regulatory subgroup, and there's a publication in development right now, and I'm hoping that some other people will want to join that effort as well. We created the Tech Hub, again, a central place where someone can go, where it's a first stop, right? It's, hey, I want to do something with a CNS organoid. I have a very specific question. I don't even know all the players who are developing these that have things on the market already. here's one place you can go and see all of those. And then you can kind of start going down that path from there. And then more educational resources, of course. So we've engaged a number of commercial providers, as I've mentioned. We also are proud to have supported the effort to put together the grant for NCATS that led to this meeting. So on the end user side of things, again, we mentioned the partnership with the IQ MPS to create a webinar and workshop series, and that has grown and now expanded. We've now, we're regularly going to conferences and talking more about this. We have regular meetings, of course, and are bringing in those end users. Obviously, this talk at the MPS World Summit to be able to tell more people in the room about it. And we're also we're doing, again, I mentioned those workshops and webinars. We're doing those quarterly and upcoming. We have blood-brain barrier, vasculature, GI, and lung for this year. We're also we have now gotten pharma companies that are coming directly and say, hey, can you come give us a presentation on all the MPS work that's happening, especially more to the groups in kind of the IACUC type areas where they're thinking about refining or reducing, not necessarily on the replacement side, but really on that reduction side. Where can we use MPSs to answer some questions that can limit the amount of animal work that we're doing or find a better assay? So I encourage you to come, and all those resources are now available online on the website. Basically, it's fairly easy. Come in, look at the replace side of the R, and then our MPS initiative, and you can find all those presentations are available there online, including those workshops where you can see 5 to 10 minute presentations from all the companies that are in the group. In terms of on the regulatory side, there have been a number of panel discussions, a number of presentations at different meetings. Been working on various white papers and publications. Continued writing different publications and hoping to put out more from that side of things. I've engaged with the FDA Alternative Methods Working Group, again, trying to get our voice into that room. It's wonderful to see that presentation from Donna and all the work that is being done already there. But we want to continue to be able to have a conduit so we know what those needs are and kind of how they're being developed from our side too. And now, as I mentioned, there's there's more talk about this, but there's also a publication that is in development now that we're looking to kind of finalize now and submit to the proper journal. So we're hoping more people will get involved with that. On the education side, it's really about just, again, disseminating information between the website, between social posts, between more webinars and whatnot, getting to the right people. We're doing more of that as well. And again, so please, anyone who's here, we encourage you to come join us on that mission. And also just, if you are here, check out our resources we do have online. So I mentioned that technology hub, and everybody is now kind of up there. So I'll show you kind of what that looks like real quick. So for the people who are looking into this. Fairly easy to come and check it out, where you can choose all the whatever tissue you're interested in looking at. Just kind of check that off, scroll down, and it'll tell you all the different companies that are offering there and kind of what the models are and kind of the context of use where they're being offered. So we've made a lot of progress in the last couple of years since we started it, but we still feel like we have more to go, and so we're excited about that, and frankly, now with the launch of the International Society, of course, too, there's just so many great efforts that are advancing the whole field, and we feel like our niche is kind of on this commercial side of it. The group has kind of come together with kind of what we think are kind of some of the key points from the technology developer side. We need to really be using data-driven expectations about what we're doing and where the opportunities are, so that we understand, that, again, context of use, I keep saying that, but it's really about where, if there's already a great assay or a great, something else, some other technology that can be used, we shouldn't be just trying to replace that just to replace it. We should be trying to identify the gaps where we can do that. As part of that, then kind of presenting and promoting what is there among our member organizations, and then working with the end users again to make sure that now the data that is being generated by the biopharma companies is then being put into IND packages. Early on, there's a little bit more hesitancy to do that in case it was going to raise more red flags or just more questions, I guess, by the regulators. But the more these get included, and they are now getting included, the more the regulators will become comfortable with it as well. We really believe the end users should be coming to us developers with an understanding of really what are the core questions they're trying to ask. Again, I'm not going to get a brain organoid and have that replace all of my neuroscience research. We know that, right? But instead, what are the key questions we can ask? Be receptive to kind of where it is and where things are going. Understand that where the field was 5 years ago, we are light years ahead of that today, and where we'll be in 5 years from now is I can't wait to see, because things continue to be developed. And so, I think, again, and on the regulator side, we want to make sure that they're also asking those same questions, listening to those same pieces, and then understanding that the technologies continue to evolve, and we're not done yet, right? And so, lastly, again, I want to just kind of wrap up with a few key points here. We should all be working together on these things. All the different stakeholders need to know what the key pieces are, what are the limitations on how we're thinking about it, but ultimately then how it's going to be used in a regulatory context or from a drug discovery context. And then making sure that all of those things remain aligned as we develop and commercialize these. And so again, I want to just kind of wrap up here. Please join our initiative if you are part of this. Sign up for our newsletter as more resources come out. And again, to that one last point, I just kind of did this for fun ahead of time, did a quick PubMed search of cerebral organoids. Now, I know cerebral organoids is a very small part of the overall field, but in 2011, it was 0 publications using this term. Last year, it was 538 publications. Just the growth of this field is huge. Again, it's about, let's not just think about what's today, let's think about what's coming tomorrow. We've had a lot of progress so far, and we're continuing to go. So please, thank you, and look forward to questions and being able to collaborate more on this.
Thank you, Ben.
Great.
We have one question, time for one question.
And happy to talk offline.
Yeah. Okay, I think we'll move on.
I'm going to ask a question then. I saw on one of your slides, I'm here, Ben. I've seen on one of your slides a name of the CRO company. I wonder if you could provide us with any insights of how open they are to the adoption of the MPS system currently.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, Charles River is the one who initially funded to get the organization off the ground. I can tell you all these big CROs are looking closely at this. This is more anecdotal, I would say, but I have a cousin who runs an antibody discovery group at Charles River who said when the FDA Modernization Act got passed and then enacted, all of a sudden the whole C-suite at Charles River was scrambling around figuring out what does this do to our business in the next 10, 15 years. They're taking a close look at this, and I think that's going to make a difference for us too.
Great to hear. Thank you.